Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. Okay, part 2 of the HPC 1200. Let's do changing the cutting wheels. Okay, so as you're looking at your key machine like this, there are 2 points you need to hold to be able to get this cutter off. Before we do that, let's identify those points and give you some sizes so people, when they're ordering aftermarket tools and stuff, will have a bit of an idea of what they can do. So there's your nut right there. Here's a brand new nut that I have. So there's actually 2 sides to the nut, as you can see. One has, well, you can't see, but let me zoom in and show you. Right, there's the nut there. So one side has thread all the way, the other side is smooth here. It doesn't have thread. Thread all the way, smooth. Okay, so generally speaking, I like to put the nut on this way, which is thread all the way, and this side not so. Now this is the old-fashioned one. The newer ones actually have like little finger turns in them off memory that you can actually like use your fingers to kind of hold it and do it. But yeah, these ones don't. This is the older school one, which doesn't really faze me because getting 2 shifters in there and doing it is quite easy. Now, the machine does come with a flat type shifter like that, where it just slides straight in there, but you can use aftermarket ones. So straight in there like that. This is your spindle, and you need to hold it and lock it. So what I do is I put one there, and then I come through and I undo my nut. Now this is a reverse thread, so which means that when it spins, it gets tighter. If it was a normal thread, when it spins, it would get looser. So on all key machines, it's a reverse thread. Let's do some sizing. I'm pretty sure, but I'm going to do it in I'm going to do it in inches first. Now my vernier calipers are rubbish, but they will do the job. Okay, in inches we're talking, I think that's wrong, but it's normally 0.49 or 0.50. Sorry, I'm not good with inches. Or 0.76 in inches. You can leave it down in the comments if you know what that is in inches, because I'm not going to Google it. Okay, 19.5 millimeters. I like millimeters. Okay, and 12.9. I got 12.5 before, but alright, 12.3, so 12.5, okay, millimeters. Alright, so that's the sizes there if you want to buy yourself some aftermarket tools, which I've done on many occasions. So first things first, we need a 12.5, 13, so 12 won't make it, nope, I'm going to use a 14. 14 moves around a bit, but for our purposes it will work. I don't have the original, but I do have this crescent one, which will work quite nicely for me. So I'm just going to make sure it's on there good. Okay, now reverse thread. So if I was normal thread, I would be pulling it down to tighten, but because it's reverse thread, I'm pulling it down to loosen, and I'm pushing it away from me to tighten. So just pulling it down. It doesn't have to be done super tight. It does kind of tighten itself. Just firm, nip it up. All right, then I'm just winding the nut off, and you can see, as I said before, well, this one here was actually the other way around, but look, leave it in the description, sorry, in the comments if somebody knows if putting that nut on vice versa makes any difference. To me, it's just a big nut, and I haven't had any troubles either way. Okay, now we've got our nut off. As you can see, we've got our nut off. Then we simply just take the cutter, slide it out like so. We take our new cutter, which come in packages like this. Okay, good to look after your cutters because they are expensive. This one here says CW20FM. Some of the main ones I use is the 12, the 47, and the 11. 11 was for disc locks like your Lower and Fletcher. The 14, I think it was for your pin tumbler like Lockwood or things like that. So they're the 2 I use a lot. So all right, when you put that on, let's put our nut back on. We'll put it back on the exact same way. On a couple of the machines, I've actually marked it the one side, so I know which side it goes out. So you just wind it all the way in like so, just like putting a big nut on. We're going to lock that spindle again. We're going to grab our shifter like so, and we're just going to give it a little nip up, and that is it. We're good to go. Our cutter is fitted. Okay, it's pretty much that simple. So how do you know what cutter to use? Well, it's on the card that you're using. If you're not sure, check it, and it says it here. It says for this one, CW20FM replaces CW20MC. Every card is different. Every key manufacturer or profiler key could be different. To get a perfectly cut key, you just got to follow the instructions. When you start assuming or using or being lazy or leaving the cutter on, yeah, your keys might not be right. Each cutter actually has different angles. If I can show them to you here. Oh, this is a brand new one. Okay, that'll still work for our example. Okay, so you see this cutter here, you can see that in the middle is like a flat section, right? So you've got an angle here and an angle here. On some cutters, that middle section is off to the left or off to the right, depending on the type of key you're cutting. Now that cutter directly corresponds with how it's going to put the grooves into the key. So for certain keys, they've got very narrow grooves, and they've got sharper angles. For some, they've got wider angles. Now if you don't get this right, as the pin, if you could imagine, as the key comes into the lock and the pin, we'll make this the pin, if the angles are wrong, they're going to jam up. They're not going to be able to slide in, go under, and go around like a skateboard ramp. You're not going to be able to get your key to slide and make those pins move up and down freely if you don't have the right angles and the right ramps. That is most important. So take the guesswork out of it, just follow the instructions, follow the cutter, right key, right cutter, right vise, right way to hold it. It's all on the card, and changing the cutter is not that bad. What I like to do is I like to have these tools. I like to have these tools around my key machine. So I have my cards and these tools or maybe even on a magnet holder, and then you grab them and you just simply whack this one in, bang, swap your cutter, bang, right, you got your card in there, load your key blank, and a skilled professional can do that in under, like, you know, you've got your card in all 30 seconds. It doesn't not take long. I've seen other people with the most expensive vehicles, most expensive van, and they still run a HPC. It's just the go-to machine for locksmiths to create keys, and it was designed, I think, in the 60s. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Now, this is what a buffing wheel should look like, and this is what this buffing wheel looks like here. So we could always take that out and replace that. Once again, there will be a way to lock the spindle on this. If I spin this around, you might be able to see it. There's a flat section here and here. So I would put a shifter on that, and then I would put the shifter on that one, turn it in reverse, and away you go. And there you can see your belt. Now, if you do want to replace your belt, it's not that big a deal. What you'll need to do is, most of the time, is you back the motor off. So this motor underneath here, you can see these elongated holes. Let me zoom in and let the camera focus up. Okay, that looks pretty good. So you can see right here, here's the screw, and you can see this elongated hole, okay? So what you do is loosen them, slide this motor forwards, making the belt loose, right? Slide that forward, make the belt loose, and then you would take your buffing wheel off, and you could take the belt off from there. You also can take these covers off as well, and you probably would need to, you know, take this one off as well. Then you just feed your belt around, all the way around. Once you got your belt back on, you push this motor, slide it back until it's tight. Let me demonstrate the tension on that belt so that if anybody is in that position, they can get a fair idea on how much tension. Ready? Tight, but not super, right? So tight enough to grip, a little bit of flex there. I'll try and do it with the screwdriver here. I'm just pulling down on it. Alright, so fairly tight, not too tight, bit of tension. Replacing a belt, look, if you're struggling to replace a belt as a locksmith, you know, maybe locksmithing is not for you. But it's pretty straightforward and simple. Drop the buffing wheel, drop your buffing thing. This piece of metal comes off with 2 screws down the back here. Feed that belt up and in and around. Remember, you can feed it in here because there's nothing attached on this side here. If you want more clearance too, you can always pop that on the side like so. So once that's removed, and your buffing wheel's removed, you can, you know, you should be able to feed that belt in there because it's only like it's a pretty small belt. Once you got your belt in there tight, pull it till it's tight, tighten up your screws that hold the motor in, and you are good to go. As far as cutter wise, on a newer model machine, you'll actually see a post the same as this mounted on the top here, and you can quite comfortably sit all your cutters on there, I think 2 or 3 high, and they sit on the top just on that pin. This one being an earlier model, before they came up with that technique, they used this post here, and if you can see this post, it's just like, look at that, it's just a big rectangle. So the only thing it serves for is like a fin to move it backwards and forwards. Okay, so that is the video on how to change a cutter on a HPC. Thanks for watching.